Alright guys, time to be back again today. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday so far, and today we have a number of interesting things to discuss. Of course, we're going to recap day one of the Paris home series, but also we have to talk about these cheating accusations. I want to spend a couple of minutes on this, probably will expand on this in coming days as well, because it's definitely something which the CDL will have to consider exactly what route we take going forwards, because a lot of people are saying, especially in the amateur community, that there is some serious cheating going on, and it's kind of understandable with so much money on the line and it not really being able to be enforced. We'll talk about exactly how that's possible here in coming minutes. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always. Let's talk about this cheating stuff then. So a few weeks ago now, we talked about Slacked when Awakening joined the Florida Mutineers squad, saying, I heard from multiple sources, my guy uses a strike pack and cheats. What do you think, Twitter? So this of course since deleted, as we talked about at the time. Now kind of funny, yesterday Awakening during one of their matches, he well, this happened on stream. He brought up his scuff controller without a strike pack on the back to the camera just to show everyone and Slacked that well, he's not actually cheating and he's perfectly legit and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of where it started for the day. That's where I thought it was going to stop. However, it kept on going. So Fastballer tweets out, looks like I'm going to have to controller check / Cronus check every team I play next year on LAN. Mind-blowing stuff I'm hearing, but makes sense looking at some of the results this year. Do I expose them, says Fellow? No way to stop it online. Would have to have a cam aimed at your PS4 port. And Clayster replies with this. So I'm sure I appreciate this isn't fully on screen, but the last time we talked about the strike pack and the anti-recoil mod, I didn't actually know about this, but supposedly the Cronus Max, which they used to use a few years ago in competition, well, you know, very recently actually in competition, you had to plug it into your PS4, and that would reduce the input lag in theory. Well, it wouldn't actually, it would increase the input lag, but it would reduce any possible Bluetooth lag issues that would happen at events. So they had to use that to try and get a wide connection between the controller and the PS4, whereas there was, you know, it was slow turn issues and stuff that people had when phones were interacting with people's Bluetooth, and it got kind of ugly at South Carolina, especially I believe in Black Ops 3 and other events as well. So this is what they used to do. They used to use the Cronus, to not to my knowledge, but supposedly the Cronus Max has a built-in anti-recoil feature, which supposedly some of these players are using to get a distinct advantage. Now, Profizi says several players on top seeder teams, I imagine he means amateur teams, bought Cronus Maxes for the anti-recoil and auto strafe mods. I need names, gamer tags. Pristini replies like, you know, what's going on here? And this is what Skade says. So Cronus anti-recoil mod is effectively you're shooting absolute lasers, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen here. So yes, you can probably do this without the anti-recoil mod, but it's still kind of significant, right? So I'll probably expand on this in coming days. Thought it was worth mentioning now though, because it's a very interesting topic, the potential cheater problem that we may have at the high level CDL even. Like who knows if pros are using this, right? It's pretty much impossible to enforce. We'll talk about exactly what the CDL could do here in coming days. Let's go on to yesterday's matches though. Thanks to Cam for the scoreboards once again. Well, the latter three, at least the first one's courtesy of Easy Mac, but I'm sure a lot of you guys who know who Easy Mac is already. Match number one of the day, Florida Mutineers versus the Paris Legion. And this was a series where most people were expecting the result to be pretty straightforward, and indeed it was. They started this early for Paris fans. Did feel kind of bad for the Aussies though, because of course this team has a lot of Aussies on the squad, and it was just a horrible time for them, I think super early in the morning. But Mutineers just ran through this series as you might expect, 250-148 on this Ramaza map, and you know, if there's a map that I don't want to play Mutineers on right now, it's definitely Ramaza Hardpoint. Like, they've crushed Dallas Empire on it, LAG, now Paris Legion. Doesn't seem like they're slowing down on this map anytime soon. I think they're now like 7-0, or at least they're like 4 on the bounce victories on Ramaza Hardpoint, or maybe 3, but they're like 8-0 on the last 8 times they have played Ramaza in all game modes, right? So including Search and Destroy and Hardpoint. Definitely not somewhere I want to be challenging them right now. And then you've got the domination as well on Hackney Yards. They closed that out as well. I'll put the video on screen. So not ideal for the Paris Legion. Awful start to the tournament for them. Then again, they're up against the Florida Mutineers. Maybe the best team in the game right now. What can you really expect? Very much a group of death for Paris Legion, right? You've got London, you've got Dallas Empire, you've got Florida Mutineers, all in this group. Didn't go ideally for them. This is how the series scoreboard went overall. Florida just absolutely disgusting. Awakening had a great series at a 1.41. Skies with a 1.46. Once again in domination. He just goes off. You might not be able to see that, but a 1.6 KD in domination, continuing the tear. Last weekend at Minnesota, we had a 1.81 KD in domination. So for a team that wins the event and gets that deep in a tournament, that is remarkable. And yeah, the slaying of Paris just was nowhere near what is required to win a series against the likes of the Florida Mutineers. Game 2 of the day, though, was much more entertaining. I felt Dallas Empire versus the London Royal Ravens, but this one started off with a blowout. You know, I did talk about it yesterday how probably Dallas Empire would come into this tournament hotter than London. Definitely we saw that in game number 1. They absolutely blew London off the map on Gunrunner Hardpoint. Definitely not a map I want to be challenging Dallas Empire on right now. However, in the Search and Destroy, Dallas have only lost this 2 times the entire season. I think they're 8-2 on Gunner and a Hardpoint, or Gunner and Search and Destroy, sorry. Both those losses are now to the London Royal Ravens. So definitely a very comfortable map for them, and very impressive that they 6-2 Dallas on this, given that Dallas Empire 6-1 Florida Mutineers on this map last weekend. We'll have to see if they play that match again tomorrow. And once again, another Gunrunner map 3. Dallas loves playing these back-to-back-to-back Gunrunners if they can. Not necessarily the best to watch, but then again, Gunrunner is probably the best map we have in this game, to be honest, and Dallas Empire take this one down. Another cracking map for the guys over there. But game 4, London bounced back, and this was very impressive on the St. Petrograd. Looked like Dallas Empire were going to claw their way back into the game a number of times, but some crucial slaying from the Ravens when it mattered sent the series to a game 5. And in a game 5, it was on Piccadilly, a map which, Atlanta FaZe had completed the reverse sweep against Empire last weekend. So not a map that I was really favouring Empire in, but they do manage to make it work in the end. Wuskin just, he was effectively the only man putting up any slaying on the side of the Ravens. And I honestly kind of favoured Ravens going into this map 5, given that we've got the sniper on Wuskin that is difficult to match, right? But Illy was putting up some good numbers of his own over on that AX50. Kind of interesting to see that Illy uses the AX50. Wuskin uses the HDR. But Dallas win this one 6-2, close out a crucial series for them. Unfortunately for London, given the way this whole series worked out, because they definitely looked better towards the end. But Dallas closing out, go on to face the Florida Mutineers in that round 2 matchup. And the slaying from the Dallas Empire was pretty crucial. Then again, a lot of the slaying in the overall KD comes down to the hardpoints. And that map number 1 hardpoint was, of course, an absolute blowout. But yeah, good series from Shotzi once again with a 1.24 KD. And Wuskin was really the only guy putting up numbers on the Royal Ravens. Then game 4 was OGLA versus New York Subliners, and this is where Mac just came alive really towards the latter half of the series. It was a pretty interesting one. I did predict New York Subliners to win in a game 5, though I didn't think they'd get it done in 4, but they do manage to make it work. Game number 1 on Ramaza Hardpoint, like this is one of OpTic's better maps, and Chino had a really good map number 1 here, and if Chino's having a good map number 1, I'm not really sure you're going to beat OGLA, to be honest, especially unless you've got unbelievable slaying power on your squad. So they win this one 250 to 167, but then Subliners turn it around. This game 2 Arclov peak was very impressive from Subliners because OGLA are typically pretty good at this map. They'll take it round 11 like against pretty much any team in the game. However, they get absolutely decimated by the Subliners on this one. Wasn't even particularly close. They went down 4-0 pretty early on and they couldn't claw it back from there at all. And then the game 3, Subliners win a very close fashion on this Gunrunner domination. Definitely could have gone either way. Made a nice comeback towards the end and just closed it out with that B flag capture when it mattered most. And then we went into game 4 and Mac just decided, look, I've had not necessarily a quiet series, but I haven't done too much the first few maps, so it's time for me to drop a 2 KD on the Hackney Yard hardpoint and close out the series. He went absolutely off towards the end of it. I think he went like 35 in 18 or 35 in 19 or something like that. Just unbelievable slaying out of Mac. And yeah, they couldn't touch him on this game 4. OGLA fall in a 3-1 fashion, and that's a promising series win from the Subliners, right? Especially going up against an Atlanta FaZe squad tomorrow, or at least later today, that are looking kind of sketchy right now. And certainly the Subliners could feel Atlanta FaZe are the squad to beat, or at least if there is a time to beat Atlanta FaZe, now is certainly the time. This is how the scoreboard went down, and Dashy had a 0.6 KD in this series, which is something pretty much unheard of. Didn't have a good weekend last weekend either, so really intriguing to see how this is going. Maybe it's like a mental thing. Maybe he's not really completely checked into the game because like the performances the last 2 weekends have not been Dashy characteristic, right? And it's been pretty much left up to Slasher to carry the squad. And it wasn't too long ago that we were talking about Dashy being the best performer on this team and everyone else lagging behind. Now it's completely the other way around, right? And if one of your star players like Dashy is going to have a series like this, there's no way you're going to beat really any team, to be honest, especially given OGLA's maybe chemistry issues you could still say they have at this time of the season. Maybe they're still considering options like Gunless that we heard the rumors about a long time ago. But Mac with a 1.4 over the course of the series, 2 KD in Search, 1.5 in the hardpoint, and accuracy as well with a phenomenal series that definitely deserves mentioning, especially that game number 1 as well, even though they lost here like 34 kills, which is impressive, and he kept it running through the rest of the series as well. But the final series of the day was Toronto Ultra versus Atlanta FaZe. This was a game that I predicted to go game 5, and it was the only one that I was actually correct in terms of the game scoreline prediction, because indeed it did once again. Toronto bring in Kleenex, and it seemed to work out pretty well for them. them. Game number 1, hardpoint, FaZe took it, but then game 2, Toronto bounced back in a 6-4 on the Yarkloth peak, and this was one where FaZe are pretty damn good at this map. Toronto had a great start. Bance was like 7-0 off the rip. They honestly could have choked it. Like, they were 5-1 up, went down to 5-3. They had a 4 versus 3 in one of the rounds, which they really did throw away. But yeah, they clutched up, I guess, when it mattered. I mean, 6-4 in the end definitely was a bit dicey, but Toronto got it done to take it to the game 3. And then game 3, they won here on Hackney Domination. Really a good map for Toronto Ultra. They've done a lot of great things on this map against great teams, and FaZe is a really, really good domination team. So winning this map on this game 3 domination was very impressive from Ultra, but did you really think this was going any other way than to game 5? Because of course FaZe bounced back in the St. Petrograd hardpoint. Solid map for them. They take it to a game 5, and yeah, I mean, game 5 was just ridiculous. It felt like Ultra were in the advantage, but even then, even if Toronto were up like 5-0, I still like would have put some money on FaZe to win it somehow, because when it comes down to game 5 round 11s, Toronto, I'm just never going to favor them, and FaZe are a team that are just so damn clutch. I'm always going to favor them, and you have to talk about it in this game 5. Sypien was a different animal, completely bailing them out. I think he had 18 kills, new CDL record for the Modern Warfare season so far, which is unbelievable. So yeah, Sypien completely carried them through this game 5. They win a game 5 round 11. I mean, I predicted them to win a few more game 5s this weekend, but FaZe just never ceased to amaze, to be honest, sending it this close against a Toronto Ultra team. Must be said though, Cleanix looked very good yesterday. He had a great series. This was the overall series score, but I mean, Cleanix with a 0.9, but you know, he felt like he had a lot of impact on the squad, to be honest. Methods had some moments as well, but yeah, the Atlanta FaZe squad just too strong when it mattered, and Sypien with an unbelievable search and destroy performance, especially in that game 5, 113 kills over the course of the series as well. He was the hard carry for the guys this series. They make it work. Maniac had a good series as well in terms of pure KD. But yeah, FaZe managed to get it done once again, looking vulnerable, but somehow they still managed to make it work. So this is the bracket we're looking at. We've got 6 matches coming up on this championship Saturday, starting at 6 PM my time, 1 PM Eastern, 10 AM Pacific time. So 6 games: Atlanta FaZe Subliners, Dallas Empire Mutineers, Toronto Ultra OGLA, Royal Ravens versus the Paris Legion. First 2 of these are for qualification to the bracket in the winner's side. Then the latter 2 of these are elimination games. And from there, we will see who our top 4 are going to be into the championship Sunday. Intrigued to hear your thoughts and all this down in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.